Good afternoon from Sacred Space. I just woke up from just over a 2-hour nap, and I'm just sat outside in the garden, and I just took a photo of little Bobo, who's and Charlie over there, who are happy to see me back out in the garden. I'm sitting here, and I'm literally feeling like even my lips are tingling. I'm a bit blue. I'm a bit oxygen deprived because my asthma's been bad the last few days. But that's not what's going on. I don't know what really is going on. But I feel like there's a big shift happening. I feel like big changes coming. My body senses things sometimes days and weeks before these shifts happen, and I just had to move it through this morning by putting on music and dancing. So that was nice, but it wore me out and I had to go to bed. Oh, actually, it didn't wear me out straight away. I went out and I've been reading Dr. Linda Kramer's book, 7 Years in Heaven, and I was reading that in the garden for about half an hour or so, and all of a sudden this just energy just drained out of me, as it often does with my health issues. And I went and laid down, read a little bit more for a bit longer, and I just passed out. So clearly I needed the rest. So I'm back out here. I'm cooking up chicken chippies because I'm hungry, and I've made it nice. If you can see it, oh yes, a nice soft drink of strawberry cordial with soda drink, which just because I need a bit of salt, I think, feeling a bit dehydrated. And I just sat out here. I've only just got out here, so I've only been here a few minutes, and I just felt all tingly and funny all over. So and the wind has come up. I'm not sure what I'm so innovated and activated about. I hope it's something good. I've been trying to manifest a self-propelled, an expensive self-propelled lawnmower to get these lawns under control. They were done on Thursday and they're already growing back, you know. And that's to be expected because grass doesn't care, you know, it will regain its integrity no matter what. And we've had a little bit of rain, so it's shooting up quite fast. And oh, thank you, Charlie. Charlie thinks I need kisses. Charlie thinks I need kisses. I do actually. I've been feeling a bit bereft, thinking about Old Flame. And I've also, this morning, when I was gifted the song Fernando by ABBA, I knew it was a message. The line that was running through my head was, there was something in the air that night, the stars shone bright. They were shining there for you and me, for liberty, Fernando. And I thought, liberty. We've been fighting the spiritual war, and for some people a medical war against COVID now for 2 years, and I'm feeling very drained by it, you know. I want the mandates removed, and I want it to be treated like a human being again and not be prevented from my normal activities, because at the end of the day, it's been proven now that people are still getting sick even with vaccinations. So the whole thing has been just as Spirit told me a few weeks ago, a fast-moving farce, and almost like a coercion and a fashion plate and a fait accompli that everyone jumped on the wagon and went, jumped on the wagon. You see, I'm not synapsing yet. Jumped on the wagon and literally, complied with all the government directives and medical directives at the risk of their own personal health, because no one knows what's going to happen in the future. And as I've always said, you have to own your own body autonomy and make your own choices. And when those choices were taken away from people, I firmly believe it was one of the biggest evils perpetrated on humanity. Unfortunately, people have died, and that's a reality too. What's up, Joe? People die. People die, birdies die too. Natural causes usually. Yes. Don't you die on me yet, Charlie. We've had a lot of death in the last few years, losing our pussycats and goldfish and chickens. It's been a lot. So I don't know what I'm dealing with right now, but liberty was the message. And then, so anyway, I played the song. Oh look, Red in Charlie's cage. Cheeky little butcher bird, I think. Anyway, liberty, freedom is our message of the day. I don't know who needs to hear it, but I can take that message. So I put the song on, Fernando, because I wanted to hear what the message was. And there were multiple layers of messaging within that song. And the very first line in the song are, can you hear the drums, Fernando? And I just burst out laughing. Of course, the song refers to the Battle of Hastings back in, I don't know, the 1800s. Is it the 1800s? I don't know, I have to Google it. With Napoleon. They have got another song that's about Napoleon. But anyway, I digress. Oh, but no, I don't actually. My middle name is Desiree, and she was the one-time fiancée of Napoleon. So lateral thinking, there's a little bit dredging up from my subconscious just there. Although in this current existence, I'm not at all attracted to short little tyrannical despots. Can't think of anything worse. But one has to laugh. So anyway, as soon as I heard the lines, and can you hear the drums, Fernando, I burst into hysterical laughter. Hysterical laughter, Charlie. It's just pooped down my chest. Hysterical laughter because of a certain person that I've been in love with, and I really wish it would just seep out of me like my energy meridians, who keeps turning up on occasion in my life about every 2 or 3 months, who popped up recently a month ago today at drumming, well, at the end of drumming this time, Anyway, I don't know what the significance of that is, because he's not really in my life. Like a lot of my former lovers, they were just not really quite there, just concentric orbiting, playing sick, sadistic, psychopathic games and messing me over emotionally and mentally. And so anyway, hearing that song with that message was delightful, because I also had images of the last most dangerous psychopath of them all, who died in 2016, and I was trying to work out, that was last evening, I was trying to work out why I was thinking about him, since, he's dead, and he'd been out of my life for, you know, when he died, he'd been out of my life for 16 years, so now it's, 21 years. It's amazing the ties that we form with, the energetic ties that we form with people who we fall in love with. It can be quite toxic and debilitating, really. But anyway, I had felt, because I was thinking about him, I felt moved to have a little snoop on his son's profile, and I was struck by how much his son looks like his father, but he did look like his father when he was a little boy, so that's not surprising. And didn't really find anything much more of interest, except, got reminded about the eulogy and got reminded about a few things. So I had to sort of stop because it was upsetting me, really. And I don't know why, after all these years, it would upset me. Especially after the cruelty of callousness and sadism of that young man's father. It's just ghastly. So anyway, I've realised that I still haven't quite stopped grieving over certain characters that were in my life that caused me untold damage. I mean, told and untold damage. So I don't know how long the grief's going to remain. I guess I've been activated because struggling to get the lawns mowed and trying to get a loan for the lawnmower has tipped me into full-blown psychic and trauma activation. But that's okay, Nothing comes easy in my life. I have to really work it and struggle and move it through my chakras and meridians. Oh, you want a drinky, Charlie? You can have some. So, but yes, can you hear the drums, Fernando? I've been doing a fair bit of trance drumming, and the last time the spirit of that dead lover came through, and they said a few things that were of interest, like they actually apologised a few times, but they also told me a few fibs too, which have been proven, given the time frame, to be inaccurate. But then, having said that, spirit timing and human timing, it's very hard to give time frames when you're having a channeling or reading, because there is no time or space in heaven, or so they tell us. So maybe he wasn't fibbing to me, maybe he was actually telling the truth. It remains to be seen. But I can't live in fantasies or fairy stories that a certain person is going to get his shit together and reconcile with me. So there is that. Maybe that's why I'm spinning out, because I don't want to live my life in deluded, romantic, nonsensical, psychedelic dreaming that is just, spinning round on the record of time in a jarred, out of kilter, out of tune, out of groove, musical aberration. Like my whole life has been really a bit of an aberration. But hey, I'm here, and look at my garden. Look at my dragon fruits. Can you see them? flower, but the flowers keep dropping, it doesn't fruit, but anyway, it keeps flowering, so it's happy. So I'm sitting here dreaming and thinking and hoping and praying for the most beneficial outcome for me and my birdie. Yes, so we can have our garden under control and do the mowing and be happy. Yes, be happy ever after. Be happy ever after, Charlie, because our happiness is paramount, Charlie. Our happiness is paramount. Yes. Or as my friends, the 2 doctors, used to say, never let the bastards grind you down, Tanya. But I'm feeling a bit emotionally and physically fragile at the moment with this asthma and all the worry I've had about maintaining my home and my garden. And I've also been feeling a bit isolated too. I almost went out this morning to grab a coffee at Amanda's little kiosk, but then I thought, what's the point? You can't sit, I'm not allowed to sit down, and I have to get there before midday because she's only open from 6 a.m. till midday now, and it was already like 10 o'clock. So I read a book in my garden instead, read Linda's book. And I really should go out somewhere, like just take the dog and go to a beach and put my feet in the sea and ground myself that way. I just haven't wanted to go anywhere. It's so unusual for me. But at least today I got to dance and I felt a bit more joyful and empowered and wild. So there's that. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to have a late lunch of chicken chippies and read my book and enjoy my little birdie who doesn't see much of me these days, do you, Charlie? So she's happy that I'm out of bed and spending time with her, because I've been watching a fair bit of TV as well. I've reached a bit of a block with my jewellery because I can't afford to buy more silver at the moment, and I just lost motivation to do that. But I did make I did buy some copper tape to put around some ceramic or porcelain little hearts I'd carved out. I carved them out months ago because I thought I'd try and make some jewellery out of my broken china. It's harder than I thought it would be. But anyway, I recently ordered the copper tape which came, and I put that around. This was a few days ago. Put that around the little hearts, and I'm just waiting for some soldering fluid that's used with, that they recommended for using with those kind of hearts. I probably could have used the borax that I've already got, but I don't know, I wasn't sure if it would work on the tape. So I've ordered this flux now that you paint on, and when that arrives, I think that arrives sometime next week, I'll have a go at fluxing the copper tape and putting silver solder wire, just the cheapest solder wire, not my good silver wire that I use for sterling silver. I'll have a go at putting that on the little ceramic pendants. That should be nice. At least it'll get a couple of those made up and give me something to do. And yeah, another project that I haven't done before. I've got so many things I need to learn and master with the jewellery making. I don't know if I can be bothered, really. I'm just too tired, too wrung out. But then I was beating myself up about it this morning, about how I've failed at every aspect of my life. And I looked around. I watered the garden this morning until the hose broke. I had to like reattach the part where I spliced two hoses together. Anyway, I was watering the front part of the garden and admiring all the things I've got growing that Mother Nature has grown for me. And I looked at my mosaic table that I made a year and a half ago now, and I was looking at it and I thought, you know what, for someone who's chronically ill and chronically tired, who doesn't have a partner, who doesn't have a lot of money, doesn't have resources, I've made some really lovely things. So that boosted me up a little bit. I took delight in that. I thought, well, at least I tried. You know, I've made a few nice pieces, and, you know, I think my next journey now is to get through the rest of this COVID ugliness that was imposed on us by draconian frickin' maniacs, really, and rest my body enough and dance often enough that I stay a bit fit, because I've put on a lot of weight. My daughter said she thought I'd lost weight, but I feel like I've put on weight. I don't know, I'll have to weigh myself to find out. But anyway, I feel sluggish and I feel old and I feel fragile. So I have to keep doing the dancing in my kitchen and or in my garden, and keep my little walk up each day, which we haven't had today. We'll have to do that soon, Charlie. Have our little walkies. And I'll have to start forcing myself to go out on little drives in the car to places, because I'm too isolated here. I did have an interesting dream while I was napping. That was unusual. I dreamt that I went with a few women friends. One of them, I think, was Tarina. It's very odd. And we went to this cathedral, sitting up high perched on top of a hill, and it looked very European. I mean, as cathedrals perched on top of hills usually are in Europe. And we were going for some lecture or talk of some kind in a Catholic cathedral. It didn't make sense to me why I would be going there. But anyway, I went along, and Tarina, it was definitely Tarina was in the dream. She had to go somewhere else, or she got asked to come and sit somewhere else. So I was guided up these stairs by one of the people that was like ushering people to the talk, and there was a lioness at the top of the stairs, just sitting across the doorway, a young lioness, looked about a year old. And the lady said to me, "Oh, don't be frightened of her. She guards the entrance here, and just be cool and don't make eye contact." And I said, "Oh, but I really love cats." I said, "But this is a lioness. Like, it's not your run-of-the-mill domestic pussycat." And she laughed, and the lioness just sort of stared at me and had this low, like growl. So I just very calmly and quietly walked up the steps, and the lioness didn't actually do anything, just accepted me, which was nice. It was a nice part of the dream. And then I went in and I was sitting down in like this auditorium, but it was like done up like, the way it was done, it had like little tables and chairs like in a cabaret or cafe where you sit around the places. And this younger man was looking at me, and the next thing I know, he sat and shared the chair with me so that his back was pressed against mine. And I sort of said something like, "Oh, you're a bit cheeky, aren't you?" And then I can't remember what he said, but he came out with this really profound thing. And, oh, that's right, my daughter at this stage was in the dream. I don't remember how she got there. She was watching, she was laughing at this young man flirting with me, which I thought was hilarious. Because he wasn't young, but he was at least, 10, 15 years younger than me, maybe 20. Anyway, so I'm just winking at Crystal, finding it all a bit funny. And then I realised he was actually really quite keen on me, and he handed me this note on silver paper, and it had like unusual sort of writing on it that looked almost like alien writing. And then I looked at him in the dream, this was, and I said to him, "Oh, you're actually quite serious." And I said, "That's a very profound message you gifted me. I don't know what it meant." And he said, "Well, yes, of course. What do you think, that I do this to everyone?" Anyway, and that was sort of when the dream ended. But I didn't wake up straight from that dream. I don't know what woke me up actually, but it was intense. So here's what's going on with me. My brain is constantly filtering and defragmenting and moshing constantly. All sorts of things. Messages from spirit and old griefs and traumas and worry about the lawn mowing situation. Oh, please God, I hope that's resolved soon. Please, please God. And, sending me little whimsical romantic gestures, which are hilarious since I can't get them in real life. Well, if I did, I probably would have rebuffed it anyway. And it's all a bit weird, really. It's all a bit bizarre. But anyway, on that note, I'm going to finish my video. I'm going to get my chicken chippies, which by now are probably a bit cold. And I'm going to enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Bye from Sacred Space. Love you all. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Say bye to the people, Charlie. Say bye to the people.